well, here's another reality you need to face. Online dating is a series of first dates, lots and lots and lots and lots of first
Right.
dates. So why not embrace video dates and save a lot of money?
You know what? That's a great point, Silke.
Did you push record?
Thanks for tuning back into Second Act TV. Robert, thank you for joining me again on another
Thank you, Silke.
segment of, talking about finding love after 50 and everything that's involved with that, especially during these crazy times of quarantine and COVID-19. So, welcome back to Second Act TV, Robert.
Thank, thank you so much, Silke. Hope I can help out a little bit.
If you watch Second Act TV and you haven't seen Robert yet, which is almost impossible by now, Robert is the author of The Guy's Guide to Love. We'll link to his book, a great read for the summer, and the host of KCAA's Guy's Guy Radio. You've
Thank
had
you.
some great guests on there. And I know, we don't really
Thank you.
pitch to what you have coming up because we're not live and this lives forever. But there's some really great segments like with John Gray and some other big names that our audience would love. So I'll link to that as well.
Thank you.
For this segment, what I'd like to return to, Robert, we've received on your segments, our previous segments, lots of comments. And surprisingly so, even though they were directed at women, the advice, because one thing you're known for is giving it straight, what women need to hear, even though they may not want to. Tons of questions and comments from men, and you've gotten personal
Yes.
correspondence. And that was interesting. I thought we need to revisit that and maybe do some segments on just what men need to know when they get back out in the dating scene, especially when so many things have changed. And then you put quarantine, COVID-19 on top of that. So, Robert, here you are suddenly single again, or after a long time marriage or divorce. Now what?
Well, it's interesting because I have had men write to me, and it's based on them seeing me with you on your show. So that's a testament to the good work you're doing, Silke. But also, what I found was interesting is that there was a consistency in that there was a little bit of a fish out of the water aspect to these guys. The signals I were getting was that the guys were a little bit stuck in the past and not really ready to embrace the new world of dating. So part of the new world of dating, guys out there, and I think the ladies will relate to this, is you gotta embrace the video. Because we can't go out and meet new people. I mean, I went to the farmer's market the other day. You're 6 feet apart. You got a mask on, one in at a time. You buy your vegetables and your tomatoes, and then you leave. And there's not a lot of opportunity for meeting new people. Now, some of the bars and restaurants are open and all of that, but it's not exactly the way it was, and you don't know how somebody you're meeting, what their perspective is on masks, no masks, this or that, and everything's so divisive. So I think the first step a guy has to do who's been out of the game, who's in their 50s, maybe they've been married, is, okay, maybe I need to sharpen up my online game, because even if you're working, we're using Zoom now, we're using Skype, we're using all these video tools. It's a part of our life now. And everybody's got a phone and everybody's posting to Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and everything. If you're not doing that, that's cool. But if you want to meet women and you want to get back into dating and you're a dude in your 50s, you need to kind of step up in terms of the technology and the tools that are available that can actually help you. So that would be kind of step number one. Get comfortable with the technology and be more open to online dating, because you're going to have to do that if you want to meet women, because the instant connection that you had 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, where you go into a bar and it's like, hi, my name is Lou, can I buy you a drink? You're not going to get that right now. You're going to have to go through these steps just as you would landing a job. You're going to have to go through some type of process: initial meeting, follow-up interviews, etc. And then finally you get to meet the individual face to face, and then the energy exchange, you never know what's going to happen there. It could all fall apart or it could blossom very nicely. But the point is, you have to be open to embracing the technology that's available that can help you. And a lot of guys are stuck and they don't want to do that.
Do you think that It's not so, that's more of a confidence thing.
I'm sure it's part of it because, the biggest fear a lot of people have is getting up in front of people and speaking publicly. And usually that boils down to, are you comfortable with the material and are you comfortable with who you are? And so again, if you're going to get back into the dating game and you're a dude and you're over 50, you might want to take a step back and say, okay, I know what I like. I've seen all those fitness models on Instagram. I like that. But, who am I? What do I have to offer? What's the reality? What can I do? Do I take care of myself? Am I a learner? Am I somebody who's interested? Am I curious about life? Am I curious about women? What goes on in their life and all that? And then ask yourself, what do I have to offer? And not just material stuff, but as you as a person, what do you have to offer? What are your dreams? What are you made of? What are you looking for in a woman? What are the must-haves? Maybe 3 things that she needs to have. Don't make that list like 30 long because you're going to be waiting a long time. And right now, it's so tough to get dates anyhow because of COVID. You might want to, streamline your must-have list to the real critical aspects.
Well, you're getting
So,
down to the steps, which what this video is about is getting one, the realities of being out here,
right,
which is one, embrace technology. Yes, and online dating is it. It's no, I mean, that's how we meet people now, and really in today's world, it's a must do
right,
is to embrace that first date as a video chat. We'll link to our last segment where we talk about
right.
that a little bit more
And,
detail. And yes, and then you said really before you go out there, before you even try to meet someone, figure out what it is that you
yeah,
want or who
right,
you are and what you bring, what you really want, what's going to make you happy.
right,
And
right.
as you alluded, when putting yourself out there, choose a site and put that profile together, and that's a big hurdle for some people.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. Tons of people talk about dating profiles, but especially for someone who's just coming back on that doesn't have all this information that we do. Let's go into that a little bit. What are some of the critical
Okay.
considerations or
All
must
right.
do's?
Well, number one is everybody has a bad story about a horror story about online dating. A lot of people, I tried that and it didn't work, and all the men are liars. And I thought the guy was 40 and he was 55, and he was 30 pounds heavier. Yes, we've all gone through that. It works both ways, of course. But ultimately, you can't hide. So when you meet the person, that person's ultimately going to show up. So first, be honest with yourself, and then be honest with the other person, and make like it's you're getting ready to go look for a job. So you got to clean yourself up. You got to put a profile, read some profiles, read the guys' profiles, read some women's profiles. Be honest, be engaging. A couple of photos, no shirtless photos, guys. And maybe one you're in action, playing a sport or something. Maybe one you're with a group of friends or family or whatever, and one doing something that you like to do, and then a nice headshot and smiling and being somebody that seems approachable. You don't want to scare the women away. And also maybe even if you just want to put the signal out there like, yeah, I wear the mask and everything on your dating website, your page, maybe one of the photos you show the mask for consideration, depending on what your position is.
That's
But
a
it's
great
going to
point.
come up.
It's a great point, and that might make somebody. Obviously, you wouldn't make it your main picture, but I think that's a great point.
Yeah. And two, just don't tell, show that you're a person that's not only an interesting person, but a person that is curious, that people would want to engage to, that women would want to say, hey, I'd like to know about that. This guy seems pretty cool. I wonder why, how that trip to the Himalayas was, or whatever it is, that you want to put yourself out there as somebody that's interesting. Now, a lot of people have low self-esteem and like, I'm not interesting, I'm blah, blah, blah. You got to get it together. You had to get a job. You had to go in there and shake that man's hand and say, hey, I'm interested in this. But it's the same thing when you're dating now. That's just the way it is. And either embrace it or go out on your own with your mask, see how you do.
Yeah. Well, and we've done these a lot for what women should consider, or et cetera. And you brought up a really good point that that really hadn't hit me, is that you said look at other men's profiles, which now I was only familiar with Match, where once you sign up, you can only see men's profiles as a woman, whatever
That's
sex you
true.
sign up with. But That's really a good idea, actually, is see who your competition is, or essentially,
Of
what are men
course.
putting out there, and that'll show you that, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. And maybe that's something you did, like the shirtless thing. I that yeah, that was a big turnoff for me. If that was your main profile picture. Now, I even got a comment on that. Oh, she said she wouldn't want to see a guy naked. Yeah, sure. It's like, first of all, how old are you? Are you 20?
Well, like it's like dick pics or something. Like a lot of guys think like that the women are going to respond to that. Like they're laughing, probably with each other. Like, look at this idiot. Come on, get a grip. If you're over 50 and you feel like you have to show yourself with your shirt off, um, come on. You got more. You got more. You might be in great shape. Congratulations. But there's ways of showing that you take care of yourself by
Exactly.
talk about what your diet is, talk about what some of your training stuff is, talk about that bike race you were in, whatever it is. I mean, people get the idea that, okay, this guy takes care of himself. You don't have to be on the nose and say, look at me. I mean, but if you want to do that, you do that and see what's the response you get.
Well, there you go. There you go. And do some research there. I'll link to
Show
other.
some women that if you have some women friends, ask them to take a look, or your sister or your cousin or friend, but get some type of a sense as to if you're unsure. Listen, writers, they write and they ask people to read this stuff all the time. There's nothing wrong with it. You ask somebody, will you look at my resume? I want to make sure that I'm articulating this the right way. For your profile, if you're a little uncomfortable with it, ask a friend. Hey, could you take a look? Preferably, if you're a guy, ask a woman. Say, would you look at this? Would you respond to this? And when she stops laughing, you'll get some good input. Just kidding. Of
Well, that's funny. No, and people are like, I'm flattered when somebody asks me for their advice
course.
like that. So
Mhm.
people, so that those are the new realities of dating. That's part of it. And and for this segment, I want to say again that getting to the first date, in my opinion, is scheduling a video date. That
Mhm.
in today's world is your first date. And the good thing about that is, well, here's another reality you need to face. Online dating is a series of first dates. Lots and lots and lots and lots of first
Right.
dates. So why not embrace video dates and save a lot of money?
You know what? That's a great point, Silka. And guys, listen to this. You look at how much money, how many dates you can have. Your investment is time, but you can have a lot of quick dates, just qualifiers online now that you might not have got before. Or you'd have to show up and you'd have to spend money on those glasses of wine and maybe an appetizer, whatever, to somebody maybe you weren't that thrilled to meet. Ultimately, the sparkles weren't there. Now you don't have to go through all that. So it's a good thing. There's some good things. Chaos to me always creates opportunity. So this is an opportunity you can meet a lot of women very quickly without leaving the house, without having to spend money. Sounds pretty good.
And that's acceptable now. So embrace it. That's the good part about it. And as we said, Robert, before we started the segment or off camera, is that people talk about it's tough to get a first date. It's much tougher
Right.
to get a second date. That's really the hard part. And so I want to hold you over and let's talk about that. Let's talk about treating that first date, be it on video, or perhaps maybe you managed to get out to
Got it.
get a
Okay.
second date. So,
Let's do it.
Robert, thank you. We will link, of course, to all of your information, to your book, to your radio show, and we'll see you on our next segment of Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silka.
Bye. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Just click the button right here. And if there's a topic that you'd like to have us cover, you have an idea for us, please go to our website, secondact.tv. We have a little suggestion box in the upper right-hand corner of the site. Just click on that, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.